Ty, we've been talking about culture for 2 years, and I finally saw the payoff.
Do you think you could have time to maybe meet me at the gate?
I'm Rich Levine, and this is Meet Me at the Gate, where we're not just talking theory, we're tackling real-world problems head-on, driving solutions that supercharge productivity and team dynamics. Every episode is a journey towards improvement, empowering you, the manager, to lead with innovation and confidence. Join us to transform everyday roadblocks into highways for success.
Yeah, we were going to talk about used car week briefly, and then we were going to talk about culture and how to change it.
So we're going to start used car week?
Yeah, just to highlight. I think you were kind of on the peripheral.
Yeah, I was. Remember, what did you say? It was carpetbagger or something like that?
You were carpet bagging all day.
Oh,
Just go ahead and get it out there on the internet right now.
I did have a pass, though. There was a pass that was paid for that somebody didn't show up, that I just may have assumed the name.
Nothing.
But I didn't do anything like run. I went into one meeting the whole time and one lunch. That was it. Economy, car biz, just.
Yeah, speaking of that, so how's auction life been?
Well,
you had some big changes, right?
Yeah, auction life's been good, working under the Americas umbrella. We ran 404 cars last week. I sold 265. Moving on up, kind of like the Jeffersons.
400, that's a record number, I think.
Well,
how many?
For a non-event sale, usually we've been right around 300, 325, but we cracked 404 last week.
Yeah. How many dealer cars? That was a big deal, big push. How's that going?
I didn't have the breakdown because I was playing hooky. And when I clicked on the numbers today to see where we were at for last week, that's what I saw. So I played hooky last week in Vegas for used car week. We were at 380 before the sale. So sounds like we got another 24 dealer cars checked in because that's where they're going to come from. Last minute arrivals.
Yeah. But you're seeing that dealers they must still be buying. What did you say, 405 and you sold 265?
Yep.
It's a good percentage, right?
That's not bad. It's not bad. 60-something%. I'll take it.
Yeah. And this is where we shift over to culture because, we go back. We were talking the other day on the phone while you're driving. We were talking about remembering the phone calls when you first landed there.
I don't remember those. You'll have to jar my memory.
Oh, there's people that have been conditioned, trained in a culture that maybe wasn't the best. Put it.
Man, are you trying to trigger PSTD in me or whatever?
What I'm really trying to do is to show the perseverance, the patience, and the payoff for, I think we're in it 2 years.
Yeah, we're just past 2 years. Interesting. I sat down with one of my managers this morning. Pops in my office bright and early on a Monday morning. Of course, I was gone. Did not expect it. Totally out of character for this manager. We had a great talk. And I said, I want you to just reflect back on the last 2 years and look how far you have come as a person, as a manager. And this manager was blown away and, said thank you. And I'm like, I'm not the one to thank. You did all the work. I shined the flashlight. I showed you the path, and then you had to follow it. So, it works, but it's not easy. It's not for everybody. It's not for the faint of heart, right? We could have thrown in the towel early.
Oh, yeah, or you could have just started firing everybody. You could have become one of your 4 pillars. You could have been control and command.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because you do have experience in that.
Yeah. Yeah. Retro
You've
Rich.
actually been a control and command leader before, haven't you, Rich?
Yeah, I have. And I was thinking about this morning, while walking the dog, and is what do we do as human beings? And it's our first instinct is to apply pressure. If something's not going your way, let's just start applying a little bit of pressure. But I was thinking it from a different perspective. I was thinking it from urgency. So try breaking down urgency. It's like, and I had an old boss that told me one time, it was like, you and your team lack urgency. Oh yeah, like this is a button I can push, and if I hit the button harder or push it more or push it faster, bam, we're going to get more urgent, which isn't the case because urgency is not a task. Urgency is a behavior. But when you talk about it, and I've been lucky enough to been, to become a disc coach and have learned and have studied how to do this. If somebody tells you got to go faster, human instinct is like, Ty, hurry up, you got to get this done. And it's command and control, put pressure on you. That's why that's in my spectrum, the bottom level of culture, because it's gut instinct. No training. What do you do?
Apply pressure.
So let's apply pressure. Nobody likes pressure like that. I mean, there's a handful of people that'll respond to it, but for the most part, the majority of the people are not going to respond to it.
So, and it's interesting because in my side of the auto auction industry, this urgency I always felt was manufactured to a point. I mean, hey Ty, I bought 30 cars. I need them all here today. They're all sold. How do you buy 30 cars, transport them, and sell them all in one day?
You got to have
hurry up and get them here.
Well, have a good process, right? We've talked about this before too. If you can come up with a better process, if and let's go back in the olden days. Remember when there used to be factory sales, GM, Chrysler, and those guys would be selling hundreds, Nissans, all those. I remember dealers would show up at the auction I was working at, Golden Gate, and they would already have trucks lined up. Hey, I'm buying 30 today. And those cars would be on the truck that day, gone.
Yeah. Well, and that's relationship. And that's different than the guy who just calls and says, "Oh, I forgot to tell you I was going to go this week." Right?
Yeah. What is it? Prior planning prevents piss poor performance. There we go. I got to get it in the right order. Yeah.
I like that. Prior planning prevents piss poor performance.
Yeah. Hey, I'm going to the auction today, Ty. I need 20 cars for my lot. I had a great weekend. I'm hoping I can get 20. Do you think you can have a truck there ready for me today?
Yeah. See, so it took me time to build that relationship with a dealer. I can help you better if you just give me a little heads up, maybe the day before, or if you don't care, I'll call you the day before. You good with that? I'll stop by. Yeah, sure.
That makes life easy.
Oh, totally. You got an idea what's going on today. And I think, for building my team and what I did, the culture, it's hard to get car hauler guys that drive semis to understand urgency.
Well, yeah. So let's talk about it. How do you get somebody to understand urgency?
Well, so everybody's different. So I've got 20 drivers. They all respond to different things. So what I start with is money, because that's what motivates me. So first I try to get a level for what motivates you. And if you don't tell me right away, I'll immediately go back to it's got to be money, because that's what motivates me. So you say, look, we got to hurry up and get these cars loaded. We don't want to damage them, and we want to hurry up and deliver them. We don't want to stop along the way and have lunch. We don't want to stop at the house, have sex with our wives, or whatever we do. We want to just load the cars, get in the truck, and take them where they go. It's only 200 miles, guys. We can do it. And if you do it, I can have you come back up and you can get another load today. And that's you just made $500 today as a driver. That's pretty good money, right?
Yeah, last time I checked, it's good money.
Yeah. So there's an option there. There's a choice. Well, I don't really care. I'd rather go home and see my wife. Okay. But we really got to get the cars moved. So how about if I make a deal with you? Sounds to me like going home is more important to you than anything else in this world. So as soon as you get this load done, I'll tell you what, I'll let you stop at the house and you can be back here tomorrow at 9. Is that fair? Oh, yeah. Heck yeah. Guaranteed the load's delivered today. So for what I do, so you just don't find car hauler guys ever standing around. You know what I mean? No. It's a niche, it's a skill, it's a trade. You really kind of need to know what you're doing. So you pretty much, as a leader in my industry, you have to learn to really deal with people. Because you don't want that guy to quit.
Exactly.
So at the same time, there's plenty of these guys you'd love to fire, just, you know,
Yeah.
but you don't because he does do at least this much right.
But so we go back to the disc profile and you look at this, the DISC. D's dominant. I'm a D. I'm a dominant. My urgency is off the charts. Matter of fact, that it might even be my middle name. It is scary how high it is. And then you got the I and the S, actually I and C, because we're going to go around in a different format. And they're an average pace. And then you got S, which is a slower pace. They're steadies. But the problem is, so if you have an S, maybe this driver you're talking about is an S. If he wants to be home with his family, it sounds like that's probably where he'd live. They already think that the pace is fast enough. I mean, they're like, damn, I'm already busting my ass. What do you mean you're going to go faster? They think it's your problem or somebody else's problem if they're going way faster than that. Like, you're just a lunatic. So
Yeah.
you got to figure out, like you said, you got to figure out what is the motivator to get around that. And you can't coach everybody or lead everybody the same way. What works for you doesn't work for me, doesn't work for the driver, doesn't work for the auction, doesn't work for the buyer. But I mean, back in my, we'll call it retro rich days, I was like, damn, I thought pressure worked on everybody. I thought I was the idiot because I thought everybody thought like me. What do you mean you don't do this now? I just gave it to you. Go now.
Go.
But I'm high D, high C. So not only do I want to do it now and fast, I want it to be right. I want it to be accurate. So it's a recipe for an asshole. A jackwagon.
So you said something earlier that urgency is a what?
It's a behavior.
It's a behavior. That's interesting. I don't think I've ever heard that before.
Yeah, it's a behavior. Oh, you can actually measure it. So I measure behavior. When I do the DISC assessment, behavior, so that everybody has a behavior hierarchy and where you rank and use different things. And there's also motivators that go with that are ranked in the same way. So what behaviors and what motivators do you have that are high ranking? So we go through this assessment, we do it, and we look at it, we say, okay, once I understand that, now I can use that to help motivate somebody to go faster, to show them the ropes, to whatever it is, however they use the different ones. So on the motives, there's 12. Well, there's actually 6 motivators, and it depends on which end of the spectrum you're on. And then in the behaviors, there's the 4, but there's also inside of that are broken out. Like urgency pops way out for me. Urgency is my number one on my hierarchy, which is kind of scary.
Mm-hmm. Still today?
Yeah, because I'm going to have to have in order to change your behavior, you got to have a significant life event, like get fired, get married.
What about the Conor McGregor experience? You could do the Conor McGregor experience. That should fix it.
What, get knocked out by him?
No, he went into some deal and did some drug and met Jesus and saw his death, and he came back. He's all changed now. He's a better dude. Well, you'll have to look it up. Conor McGregor.
But there's an example of a life event. He went through something significant.
Yeah.
Not going to categorize it for him, but it was significant, obviously, right?
Yeah, big deal. But anyway, so I was just thinking also, you talked about this manager that stopped in your office this morning. I think I know who it is. And I think what we are just talking about here is a good example of how you take, I mean, how many managers want to hear you have to deal with people individually? How many managers that you know love it when you say, hey, you're going to have to deal with your whole crew on a kind of a more one-on-one.
On a one-on-one basis? Yeah, nobody wants to hear that because everybody wants to be one and done. We're human beings. We're lazy, right? I fall in the same trap. I just want to send an email to the team. I just want to send a video to the team. I just want to have one meeting with the team. But you got to repeat this stuff over and over and over. So you got to do it in groups. You got to do it in individuals. You got to keep your message going. You tailor it to each one. It's a lot of work.
But the payoff, there's a payoff. And the payoff, the reward is, I think, very good.
Yeah. It is.
Which reduces urgency because we have people that we understand and we can go to them or we can walk in the office and they're sitting there and they want to tell us how awesome it's been for 2 years and the changes that have been made in those 2 years, right?
Well, what was interesting is the conversation wasn't, we weren't talking about how awesome we were. I had to say, hey, I want you to think about how far we've come. Because the challenge is we know we've got some more cars coming. We know we've got some different, we got to get stuff through some of the processes faster. We've got gaps we're trying to close, and we were game planning on those, and you could see the frustration coming out. And I said, hey, I want you to stop and think. 2 years ago, we would never be even looking at this problem. That's how far we've come.
Right. Those 2 years were kind of a prep, honestly. And the 5 hour check in that you've been going through for the last little while,
Since
that's going to come
July,
in beneficial, right?
May. Yep, we started that in May.
May. So that's not
Yeah,
very long.
May, and then July. I threw that one out because what was really cool is my buddy Michael Newman. He was on the show with us. We need to get him back
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, I remember Michael. Cool guy.
So Michael's helping us. We need to get him on the show. He helped. I said, hey, I got an idea. I took the idea and said, how do we eliminate arbitrations?
Yeah.
And I said, I think we can use a hybrid between AI and human beings. And he's like, tell me more. And I said, well, we have this paper drive sheet, and we go and do a test drive. We're just writing on paper, and then somebody writes down, this should be green light, this should be silver certified, this should be red light or green light announce, transmission slips. I'm like, what if we gave you that? What if you wrote us a program where you take that data and we put it into a form, and then you bounce it off of AI, and then you spit it back to us, and you say, based on everything I know, everything you told me about this car and everything I know about like your make and models, here's what I think is the best reference. And he did it. It's really freaking cool. It's a cool ass program.
And so that would be something a dealer would love and a consigner, a
Um,
commercial account.
well, I think everybody would love it because it helps build trust, because now we should have, using the tool correctly, we're going to have more accurate assessments. It picks up, here's an example. So he brought it down and was showing me, we're still on the beta version. That just means a test version. And we put another auction. He's got 2 auctions on it now. He said he's looking at 3 or 4 auctions to test it out. But for example, so he came down to visit me and brought his developer. So we jumped in a car. It was a 2017 Toyota Camry, the bigger one, not the Corolla, the Camry.
Mm-hmm.
And we're driving, and it's got like 85, 90,000 miles on it. Clean car. Everything's doing right. So 2017, what is that, 8 years old?
Mm-hmm.
It's, I think, in the low 90s what it had for miles. And there's only one light on, which was the tire pressure monitor system. So the flat tire light's on. It's the
Mm-hmm.
only light. It's the only thing on there. Everything on this car, it sounds great, runs great, everything. So we're putting this information there. There's check boxes. Did it drive okay? Yes. Did the engine sound okay? Yes. I'm being a little bit easy on it, like it's a little more specific. But then once you send all that information, we send it off to AI, and it comes back. It takes 3 seconds for
Oh yeah.
AI to produce an answer. It gives us what is the market, what it believes the market value of that car is right now, how much it's going to cost to do a repair, and it gives it to you on 2 levels. I'll break that down for you a second. And then it gives you a full page statement of how it got there, why it got there, and everything related on NAAA arbitration rules. So the feedback comes back on this car, and it says, we recommend you run this NAAA Gold 14-day.
Whoa.
You need to fix the tire pressure monitor light. Estimate, we've got a generic plug in there for labor, but it came back and said your estimate's approximately $275 to fix it. So it's enough to make an initial decision. And it said, however, had an asterisk, so it gave us a second breakdown. However, 2017 Toyota Camrys are known to have issues with communication between the tire pressure monitor system and the ECM. Should you replacing these sensors not fix the problem, likely it's in the ECM. Estimate to repair, $2,700. Okay, but now you have that decision. It gave us a chance. It said it's a low risk. But now, Ty, you're the banker. selling the car at the auction, or you're the dealer brought the car and I give you those two things. Olden days, you'd call me up and you'd say, Rich, that was just a tire pressure monitor system. What do you mean the ECM's bad? Now, you should have figured this out before you ever called me. Nope, now I've got it. And I sent it to you, Ty. I told you there was a 3% chance it was going to happen. I hate to break the news to you. We spent $275. We got a bad ECM in here.
Which you go back to, what was the original problem? Arbitration,
which goes back to trust, which goes back to building a culture, building a place, having a vision. I talk about intentional culture, right? Having a vision. We want to become the world's most trusted auction based on values: trust, hope, humility, and empathy. Trust is the biggest one. So now we've got a product that can help us get there. It's not all AI, because there's human beings have to do it. Human beings have to interpret it. And we get that back and we're like, does this make sense? So the mechanic that did the test drive has to say, yes, the assessment you gave me back, AI machine, yeah, this is pretty accurate. Or you can say, no, here's what I believe you missed. And that goes into the AI, and AI keeps getting smarter every time we use it.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is beta. So this could actually be a real deal before long.
We'll see. I got to talk to my buddy Michael. We need to get Michael on to see if he wants to talk about it.
Yeah. I haven't seen him in a while. I'd love to talk to him, see his face.
Cool
guy. Super cool.
Yank him in. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that sounds like a home run.
It is a home run. So that's helping culture. So you need tools, you need training, you need all kinds of crazy stuff to help culture.
On that, sorry, one more question about that. Everything you just said, how are you making these announcements on the block? I'm assuming, I guess, is that what that is?
That's what it's to help us understand, is how to make better announcements on the block.
Right.
It even identifies this.
Eventually, go ahead.
The tool helps us identify like known issues on a 6.2 liter GM engine. We all know that they got a natural motor knock. AI actually tells us that, hey, there has been multiple complaints on this. This is a known problem. If there's an open service bulletin within a manufacturer, it pulls it back. If the National Highway Transportation has something, it tells us about that. The amount of we can get our hands on now to make better decisions. So I got these wild and crazy ideas, and he's come up with a really cool tool.
Well, the 6.2 diesel, it's coming through the lane. It's on the block now. Auctioneer, hey, it's 6.2 diesel. It's got a known problem with the knock. That's just a warning light, a yellow announcement. Yeah?
Yeah, you could. But there's this neat little thing that the NAAA put in that's helping us right now. And it clearly says in the revised arbitration rules that it is the buyer's responsibility to inspect the vehicle. Now, whether that's virtually by reading the condition report or by actually coming out to the lot and touching it, sniffing it, starting it, whatever. We're putting this stuff on the condition report. Hey, 6.2 liter engine, it's got a known motor knock, no arbitration. It's in there. Dealer calls up, and I'm trying to give it, but at the same time, the other thing we're trying to eliminate is we don't want a paragraph on every car.
Yeah.
Right? How do you do this? How do you do it accurately, consistently, accurately, and transparently? Well, we're building the model. Consistent, we got a process to do that. Accurate, we're trying to give you as much information. Where is it? Transparently, it's on the CR. Go look at it. We told you all about it.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, I don't know that I've seen the buy sheets, like a Mannheim buy sheet. I've seen the old ones. I don't know if they still do it, but it would have one of those little square boxes at the bottom, announcements.
Yeah.
Is that still something people do?
I have no idea. I haven't seen a buy sheet in forever.
Okay.
But
gotcha.
there's got to be some accountability on the buyer as well, right? You can't just come in and buy a car and then go, well, I want to arbitrate it. Well, everybody knows that car has that. Or, I've had some crazy things happen in the 30 years I've been selling cars. Matter of fact,
sure.
the very first crazy thing I ever remember, I don't even think I'd been doing it 6 months. And a dude bought a Toyota Tacoma. And he comes in, I'm sitting at the auction, the fleet lease, closing out the sale, waiting for my checks. Back in the day when you'd sit there and wait for the checks.
Yeah.
And he comes in and says, hey, I want to arbitrate this car. And they said, well, I said, go talk to the auction. They said, no, they want me to talk to you. And I go, arbitrations go through the auction. I said, what do you want to arbitrate? Well, this is a regular cab. I thought it was an extended cab. This is before the internet. The dude is standing in the lane. I said,
Oh,
dude,
no.
I said, I don't know what you had to drink last night or what drugs you were doing, but if you were seeing double,
Wow.
that's not mine. That's on you. I'm sorry, buddy, but I can't help you out of that one.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy. Yeah, I'm sure you've got a lot of stories like that. Ridiculous. I can only imagine.
I've had them when the entire side of a car's caved in. Well, I didn't know it was wrecked.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why the auctioneer said, hey, make sure you walk all the way around this car before you bet. You're looking at the TV side. You might want to check out this side.
I've been there. I've done it. I've bought cars that I didn't walk around. It happens.
I've
You
sold
learn
big
lessons
rigs.
fast.
Hey, I just sold a big rig at the beginning of this year that had a lot of the engine parts laying in the driver's seat, a big rig. And they're all as is anyway.
Yeah.
It was in the photos. It's in the condition report. And because it's a giant big rig, we have no way, it's a postcard sale. So the photos are going through online and in the lane while you're bidding it of all the parts there. I didn't know that was an in-op. What part of engine parts in the seat did you not get?
Oh, no. Yeah. Well, that's crazy. Okay. So we got used car week. We got culture, changing culture. And we got new technology coming soon.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of Meet Me at the Gate. I hope the conversation has helped to fuel your drive and equip you with insights to steer your team towards success. Remember, the road to success is always under construction. And until next time, keep your engines revving and your gas tanks full.